And then I met my husband, and Kevin. It was grade 12. And we went to a rodeo in a nearby city. And a girlfriend and I were there and watching the rodeo. And there was a group of guys there. And long story short, we ended up dating. I was very interested in him. He was like he was a farm boy. He was a cowboy kind of type. He'd wear the tight Levi jeans and the white dress shirt and the belt buckle and the cowboy boots. And yeah, I was infatuated, and we started dating. And actually, at the very beginning, he had actually said I was too young for him, and then he wasn't going to date me. But then he had a Christmas party that he needed a date for, and then he asked me again, and then things started from there. The weight thing, though, was still kind of an issue because I still had lost weight, and I was like maybe 120 pounds. But obviously, I had a bigger chest, and that I just had that kind of body style or whatever. And he had said to me at one point that he didn't usually date girls that look like me. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And this is when guys are like, what the fuck's wrong with your head? He's like, well, I usually date thinner girls. And I was like, what? Like, who says something like that? But I still stayed. So obviously it wasn't that bad, but I had like this image of myself that I was still overweight and I was still huge, but it was pretty much felt like to me as far as I could go because I didn't know really that I could get much thinner than that. I probably could have, but I just thought at that point, maybe I did even have some self-confidence to say like, okay, no, like I gotta be good enough now. Cause this is ridiculous. But anyways, I ended up going to university and I lived about 2.5 hours from where my boyfriend Kevin, now my husband, lived. And so just spent a lot of time with friends and partying and stuff like that. And the first year, I don't remember anything like really remarkable, really, because I was living with my sister and my cousin and another friend. And so to me, it kind of felt more like an extension of home to me. I remember maybe having some weird thoughts that maybe were creeping into my mind. I worked at Susie Shear at the time, and I remember having these few strange kind of thoughts. But I tried to just pretend that it wasn't really happening and just move on. And then I went to work for a co-op program, and the ladies, the ladies at the work at the co-op program were very judgmental. And for me, they were probably threatened by me when I look back now. But at the time, it didn't feel like that. At the time, they just felt like they were just being very mean to me and just, I don't know, they just treated me like I was like a dumb bimbo, and they were just always making fun of me even, or making fun of what I'd wear, or, oh, you're going to, look, she can wear this or whatever, And so I started to get kind of down on myself. And then at the same time I was getting kind of down on myself, I started to have more of those, what I would call then was weird thoughts. But it just started where things were starting to happen around me, just violent things happening around me. And at the time there was this Paul Bernardo case, and he had taken these girls. I don't even want to remember a lot of what it was about, but it was horrible. And for some reason, I started obsessing on it and obsessing about the body parts and about cutting up the body parts and what that was like. And for some reason, I started to be in part of it, like where it was that I would see it happening all the time, like to other people on the street or wherever. And then I'd be like getting a garbage bag to like pick up these parts. And this was all just in thoughts. Like some people wonder what that's like. Like, is it a hallucination that I think that I'm in it? No, I've never thought that I am actually in it. Like I've never said like I believe I am here, like in this thing that's going on, this thought. I always see it as a thought that's happening over here, and I know it's just a thought. Like I don't identify it as like I see that this is truly happening. I know it's not true. Like I know it's not real, but it just keeps happening. So um, it would keep going on, and I started to get really scared, but I don't know again why. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my parents. I told Kevin, my husband then, he wasn't my husband then, but my boyfriend. I told him a little bit about what I was seeing. I told him that sometimes it was awful, but I saw sometimes like people were getting hurt on the street, people were getting stabbed or their heads cut off. And so I did mention a little bit about it, and he just said, "Oh, you're too stressed, and you're being too hard on yourself because of those women that you work with, and you're probably just too stressed about it, and it's kind of coming out like that." And at the time I was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, 'cause what other reason could there possibly be to see these things happening all day long and scare the crap out of you? I just thought of it as, okay, maybe I am just stressed out. And again, I locked some of that stuff away from when I was 10, 12. So that I didn't even enter into the picture for me. It just entered in that these things were starting to happen and I had to figure out a way to stop them. But I never, ever would have thought like, I need to ask for help or I need to go to therapy or like nothing like that crossed my mind. The only thing that crossed my mind is you keep this a secret and you keep it quiet and you just hope and pray it'll go away. And it would just keep on like that. And it got into almost like a depression part for me where these Harm OCD thoughts kind of always, depression came either before or after it. So I started feeling really lonely and really like I didn't know what to do with myself. I was in this basement apartment and I would just feel so lost. Like I didn't know what to do, where to go. I know I needed friends, but I would kind of reach out to some, but they'd be busy, but I wouldn't say like, no, like I need you. I would just be like, oh yeah, no problem. And then I would just sit there and kind of stew in my apartment and be really upset with these thoughts and upset with the darkness that was kind of coming over me. And eventually, during university, it started to dissipate again. So I must have went into more recovery part of it again, where I was able to not engage with the thoughts, that I was able to not, when you have those thoughts, it's like a cycle where you obsess about them, so they just keep coming. But at whatever point, I was able to get out of that cycle, and I was able to again just live normally. And at the time, I don't think I knew that I had a mental health illness, or I maybe thought I did, but I was too scared to even think that that was true. I just wanted to think like Kevin said, oh, I was just stressed out. I just wasn't feeling good, right? And I really didn't want to ever go there. Like there was something more to it, even though deep down I kind of always felt like there was lots of schizophrenia in my family, and I always felt like maybe that was going to be me one day, and it scared the absolute fucking shit out of me, and I wanted to bury it as far as possible.